it can affect different organs and different tissues in the body. Usually what happens and what's supposed to happen is that after the threat has been neutralized.
Hi everybody, and welcome to the Kidney Coach YouTube channel. I am naturopath Fiona and co-creator of the Kidney Disease Solution, as well as being part owner in Genesis, which is our supplement range that goes along with that. And I'm joined today by the amazing, wonderful Emily Cahill. Emily is a fully qualified registered nurse. She works at a large cardiovascular unit here in Melbourne, Australia. So let's just get straight into it, Emily. What is sarcoidosis?
So sarcoidosis is it's classified as an inflammatory disorder, and it can affect different organs and different tissues in the body. And what happens is they don't really understand exactly what the cause is, but they think it's to do with the body's immune response to some sort of unknown substance. There are potentially some links to some bacteria, viruses, chemicals and things like that, but the immune system it starts to respond to whatever it is, and as the immune system does when it's trying to heal something, it causes a lot of inflammation and the release of different inflammatory molecules and immune cells and cytokines and things like that. Usually what happens and what's supposed to happen is that after the threat has been neutralized, or the substance is no longer present, then our immune system calms down and that inflammation all resolves and all stops. In sarcoidosis, for some reason, this inflammatory response doesn't switch off. And so what we end up getting is immune cells that start to clump together. So they start to group together and develop into these things called granulomas. So granulomas are small clumps of immune cells that can actually form anywhere in the body. There are some sites that it's more common to develop these granulomas. So the lungs is probably the most common. And then the skin is another area that's up there as well. But they can develop in any organ. So you can get them developing in the kidneys. They can develop in the heart. So yeah, basically lymph nodes, and the eyes is one of the other more common affected organs of these granulomas.
What are the sort of symptoms? So how would someone know that they had sarcoidosis? What are the sort of things that come on early on in the disease, and then as the disease progresses, what happens?
Yeah, so it's one of those diseases that tends to be tricky to diagnose, and people can often have symptoms over a long period of time and see multiple doctors before they actually end up getting a diagnosis. And the symptoms tend to depend on where the granulomas have developed. So, for example, when like the most common site being the lungs, people can get things like a dry cough, shortness of breath, a bit of a wheeze, some chest pain. If it's sarcoidosis of the skin, then people sometimes get a bit of a rash with sort of these reddish purpley bumps, or even sort of lumps under the skin, which are the nodules. They're the granulomas. Things like lesions on the nose or the cheeks as well. The skin might change colour, so you might have areas of darker or lighter skin. For people with sarcoidosis of the eyes, blurred vision, pain, burning or itching. And then some of the, I guess, more systemic symptoms, and this is probably one of the reasons why it can be difficult to diagnose, are things like fatigue, weight loss, fevers, joint pain. So, all being symptoms of a number of different conditions. If sarcoidosis affects the kidneys, then some of the symptoms are, again, similar to other symptoms of kidney disease. So reduction in kidney function. People can be more prone to things like dehydration, signs of inflammation, and then probably the most common is kidney stones. and
Why is
calcification in the kidney.
It's the calcification. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so one of the things that happens with sarcoidosis is that we get an increased production of our active vitamin D. And so this is from the granulomas. So the granulomas actually, increase the production of active vitamin D. One of the roles of vitamin D in the body is to increase the absorption of calcium from the gut. Mm-hmm. So one of the other, signs in terms of on blood tests is that people with sarcoidosis can have elevated calcium levels in their blood, but also elevated calcium levels in their urine, because if we've got too much calcium in our blood, our body, does the right thing, tries to get rid of it through the urine. Yeah. And then we've got the high calcium, and then that's a risk factor for developing particularly calcium, either oxalate or phosphate, kidney stones, having that elevated calcium in urine.
Yeah, and there's another condition that's really common in sarcoidosis, isn't it? Is it interstitial nephritis?
Yes, yeah. So you can get some interstitial nephritis as well, which is when the nephrons, so the spaces around the nephrons, start to become inflamed, and that can be a cause of kidney damage and kidney disease as well.
Thanks again, Emily. I really appreciate it. If you've liked this content, make sure you give us a like. And if you hit subscribe, you'll get notified anytime we put up new content. If you want to know more about who we are and what we do, you can head over to www.kidneycoach.com and you'll find everything you need to know about us on that website, including supplements that we sell and our program, The Kidney Disease Solution. Emily, thank you again for all your valuable information and knowledge. I always appreciate it. And we'll all see you next time. Bye.